Well, hello and welcome back to the YouTube channel. It has been a while. I think the last episode I did on here was Taupo 70.3, which was at the start of December last year. And geez, it's been almost 6 months since then, but I'm back. So let me give you the quick 411 on what's been happening since Taupo. I took 3 weeks off after Taupo over Christmas, had my birthday, and then cracked back into it at our annual JTM camp, which this year was in Jindabyne, just a couple of hours south of Canberra. We had some visitors there, which was good, a couple of other pro athletes to train with, so that was always a good start to the year to kick the body back into line after feasting on a lot of food over Christmas. We also did some aero testing at camp, which was insightful to see an array of things. We tested different helmets, different sort of extras like bottles down the kit and stuff like that, so it was good to get an indication of what made me faster. Alas, that Ironman's now banned the bottle down the kit, so that can be thrown away. But anyway, yeah, that was good. That was 7 days down there. Had a blast. Just always good to start the year like that. And then post-camp, the first, you can sort of call it a race, I did was Husky relay. So I did that in a team, obviously, and we just did the sprint. So Alec Morris, who trains with us, he did the swim, took it out real fast. I think 7:50 swim, not sure what time he did, but it was the fastest of the day, I'm sure. And then James Thorpe, our coach and now getting back into professional racing himself, did the bike leg and took out the comb for the bike course on his new Slick Trek TT bike. And then myself, I did the run and covered the 5k in, well, if you go off the results page it was 14:31, but the Garmin said somewhere in the 14:40s, but we'll take either of those. So that was fun. That was a fun race to kick off the year in Husky. I think they should make team racing bigger in Australia. It could really be fun. But anyway, after that I went to Malabar at the start of March, just to freshen up the legs, get them used to racing, and that was a good hit out. Came in 4th at the end there, so just missed the podium, which was kind of disappointing, but yeah, be back to do that next year. That's where I got qualified for my professional license, so that's a race that I quite enjoy the atmosphere of and will definitely go back to. The boys in front of me that day were Caleb Noble, who took the win in a sprint finish with Charlie Quinn, which you probably have seen all over, or would have seen on the news. And then Kurt McDonald in 3rd, myself in 4th. So that was Malabar. It's always good to get up to the Sunshine State, even though on race day itself it wasn't too sunshiny. It was a little bit rainy and plenty of wind, which made for an interesting bike ride especially, and even an altered swim course because of the swell. And then post Malabar, 2 weeks after that, I went down to Geelong to compete in Ironman 70.3 Geelong, which was also the Australian middle distance champs, Aussie champs. That was, let's say, an interesting race. Like most Australian domestic races, professional races, if you can't make the front swim pack, you've got a long day ahead of you, really. So I, to be honest, probably had one of the best swims I've had in a race to date. Came out about I think it was just under 2 minutes back from the main group, but still had a group that I was swimming in. And then pushed really hard for the first, say, 20-30 Ks of the bike, and was able to bring the gap back to about a minute on the first. If anyone knows the Geelong course, it's like an out and back essentially, and that you do twice. So on the first out leg, I brought it back to about a minute, the gap, and then coming back in towards Geelong, there was a bit of a headwind. So me riding solo, I couldn't really make up any time on the front pack of 10 into the headwind, and kind of lost maybe 30 seconds or more there, and then basically held the gap at around 2 minutes for the rest of the ride solo, which was a long ride just by myself basically, and just sitting there looking at the bike computer, not really catching the front, not really being caught by anyone behind, just in no man's land really. And much the same for the run. I got off the bike, felt pretty good surprisingly, considered I'd pushed my best power to date and had ridden the whole bike solo with no wheels to metaphorically sit on. But yeah, ran, I think it was a 1:14, which isn't blistering fast, but not the worst. And that was good enough for 9th. So at the end of the race, I said that it was basically a good training day, which it was. So yeah, that was Geelong. And then post Geelong, I picked up a bit of a calf niggle. I was going to go and race Cebu to try and chase a Taupo slot, which was going to be the goal for the first half of this year, but I got this calf niggle and had to take a week and a half, 2 weeks off running. So that was a bit of a kick in the guts, and Cebu was going to be touch and go. So in the end, I decided to not go over to Cebu, which was a hard call to make, but I've also got exciting racing on the horizon and didn't want to risk getting more seriously injured. But congrats to the boys that went over there and got their Taupo Ironman 70.3 World Champ slots, especially Calvin. It's always good to see him chasing races and finally getting some reward for that effort. And so yeah, that kind of flushed the 70.3 Worlds for this year down the drain in terms of my aspirations for that. And then I've basically now reset the focus to build for Cairns full Ironman. So I've doubled the distance, going to step up to the full Ironman, and there'll be a lot of learnings in that. I'm well into the training now. The load is definitely picking up. I'm still managing the run slightly, but that's definitely going to ramp up as we approach Cairns, which is in mid-June. We've also, myself and my mate Alec, we've started a podcast called the Professional Athlete Podcast. Go check it out if you haven't heard about it already. We talk about a lot of things, mostly managing professional or triathlon training with also working full-time, and we're also going to try and cover a bit of the domestic Australian Oceania racing, considering a lot of large podcasts, especially those in America and Europe, don't really care for much of the Aussie racing. And yeah, we're also going to try and give you some of our tips and tricks for what it's worth on triathlon basically, and like the equipment we use and our training weeks and how we're going with our respective goals or what we're building to. So for me it's Cairns. For Alec, he's spending the winter trying to learn how to ride a bike. So go check that out. That's something new that's going on. And yeah, so now basically on my Cairns build, trying to get in a bit of heat prep at the moment. I've just got a core sensor, which for those that don't know is basically a body temperature sensor that you can monitor your internal body temperature and your skin temperature to get an idea of how your body reacts to heat. And you can also use it to hit specific heat zones to train in when you're training, to try and get some heat adaptations. So I've been using that on all my runs and rides, and some trainer rides, and then also just hitting some saunas and spas to try and get a bit of a heat adaptation at the moment, and then I'll carry that through for the next 6 or 7 weeks into Cairns. In terms of the training, I'll be pushing up towards the 30 hours over the next 5 weeks before I start the taper. So that'll be it'll be quite a push, especially with working, but I'm sure we'll be able to manage it. And yeah, so that's basically how the last 6 months has been going, and I'm going to try and put out some sort of video on YouTube, hopefully weekly, of how the build's going, give you guys an insight into the Cairns prep. Also got an exciting new delivery coming hopefully quite soon, which will be exciting to show you. Stay tuned for that one. And yeah, thanks for coming back to watch. Hopefully it'll be a bit of a shorter stint in between videos this time. And yeah, if you've liked this little recap, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to follow on for the build to Cairns and then beyond. Who knows what will happen in Cairns? It's an Ironman Pro Series race, so it should have a pretty strong field. I've heard the likes of Joe Skipper are coming over, maybe some bigger names. It'll be fun. Braden Curry might make an appearance as the reigning champ. So yeah, I'm keen to step up to the full distance. So follow along, subscribe if you want to see that, and yeah, look forward to chatting more in the next video. Thanks. Ciao.